The delegates are now on the floor, and for most of Kentucky's delegation, this will be the very first national convention.
People keep asking me, how's this going to compare to other conventions? I don't know.
Even for State Party Chairman Mac Brown, who officially welcomed the delegates at their hotel, this is a new experience.
As the people started pouring in yesterday, you just sort of feel the excitement and the fun, and it's going to be an interesting week.
Interesting as well for State Senate President Robert Stivers. He knows his way around Kentucky politics, but the national stage, not so much.
I've not been exposed to anything like this in my life. Not too many of these occur in Manchester, where I'm from, population 1,200. But it's just an atmosphere of excitement around here. Excitement
for the soon-to-be nominee Donald Trump, even though some delegates admit he was not their first choice. But Brown expects Trump to do well in Kentucky despite, or perhaps because of, his rough edges.
A great leader isn't the guy who has all the answer. He's the guy who pulls people together to build the right answer. And that's what he is. He's a leader.
And Stivers believes Trump will be an asset as Republicans try to take control of the state house this fall, while Hillary Clinton, he says, will hurt Democrats.
She is very unpopular in eastern Kentucky, and I see most of those candidates running from President Obama and Hillary Clinton this fall.
We've seen national leaders, celebrities, and Trump family members on stage here in Cleveland, but tonight it's a first-term state senator from Kentucky.
It's surreal. Kind of a dream.
A dream come true for State Senator Ralph Alvarado. He came to the notice of Trump's campaign after writing an email expressing what Hispanics really have in common with the Republican Party.
The values that we share with people within the Republican Party, and I think that may have circulated around a little bit and got in front of some people's faces.
Alvarado met Trump for about 5 minutes in early July, and soon came word.
They told me we're going to give you 6 minutes, 9:03 p.m. on Wednesday night, and I was stunned. I don't think we've had anybody from Kentucky have an opportunity like that, and it's been probably over 40 years, so no pressure or anything.
And the message Alvarado wants to deliver?
It's a story of immigrants. It's a story about family values and the values that Latinos have and the values that Republicans share with them, and then how this latest presidency for the last 8 years hasn't fulfilled the American dream.
And as Alvarado approaches the stage, he knows he's representing not just Kentucky and not just Hispanics, but his family.
It's a big moment for for my mom and for our family. So that'll be the hard part. If I think about it too much, it'll come out. But it's that, not fall, not trip, and then just be able to read the teleprompter.
At their core, and this is important for us to understand, that Hispanics believe what Republicans believe: traditional family values, church, faith in God, the dignity of work, and the opportunity for self-sufficiency that comes from a free society and a limited government.
Governor Matt Bevin, along with Alvarado's family, escorted to a spot on the front row. There they watched Kentucky's first Hispanic lawmaker represent Kentucky on the national stage.
Outstanding. I'm so proud of him as a Kentuckian, as a friend, as somebody who has respect for the values that he holds. I thought he knocked it out of the park. I think that was one of the most compelling speeches we've heard in this entire convention.
It's a thrill. I just feel so honored to be his wife, to celebrate with Kentucky.
We have a tremendous bench in Kentucky of great political leaders, great people who know how to tell the truth and know how to speak from their heart.
We all see what happens on stage and on the floor here at the convention, but we met a young lady from Louisville who's playing a small but important role behind the scenes. Those signs that delegates wave on the convention floor, USA, USA. They don't just appear by magic. They're given out by convention workers like 19-year-old Bernie Summer of Louisville.
They can be very aggressive sometimes. They've told us to hold them close to us so that people don't snatch them out of our hands.
It's part of Summer's job as a convention page, the only Kentuckian selected this year.
Coming from Kentucky, there are always a lot of misconceptions and stereotypes about our state, and I love getting to tell people about what our state is really like and getting to speak of Kentucky in a great way.
One thing Bernie learned right away, the convention is well orchestrated, even when it comes to those signs.
You want to have them centered correctly for the TV so that the spotlight looks perfect.
The Sacred Heart graduate has long been interested in politics. She says a fun part of this experience is getting to meet others who share her interest.
I think every time I've done something, I've definitely been in the minority being a young conservative, but when I'm here, it's very refreshing and it's honestly inspiring to see people who have the same views as me.
In fact, she's considering a career in politics.
It's definitely worth coming because of the experience that we have.
Bernie says she's still lukewarm about Trump, but she does know one day she wants to play a role on stage. Mike Pence has been in Hoosier politics for some 2 decades as congressman and governor, and those who know him say his debut here on the national stage may have been his best speech ever.
I'm a Christian, a conservative, and a Republican in that order. I thought I'd be spending this evening with all my friends from the great state of Indiana. Yet there I was, a few days ago in New York City, with the man who won 37 states, who faced 16 talented opponents and outlasted every one of them.
Well, it was a great privilege this evening to watch our governor, Mike Pence, introduce himself to the rest of the world. And all of us in Indiana are extremely proud.
Well, as the stage continues to get larger for Governor Pence, he continues to get better. He needed to come out and hit a grand slam tonight, and that's exactly what he did.
A lot of substance to the speech, a lot of heart, a lot of soul, a lot of faith, patriotism, everything that Mike's about. It truly came from the heart.
Now attention turns to the main event, Donald Trump. Bevin has not formally endorsed Donald Trump, but he's now voicing perhaps his strongest words of support for Trump, calling Hillary Clinton a disaster.
And there's no question I will absolutely vote for Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton. There's no question. I've been very clear about that every time I've been asked. And the fact is, you often hear people talk about being at a crossroads in America. We are at a fork in the road in America. And we are going to go one way or we're going to go the other. And the difference is very marked. Kentucky probably will go by 30% for Donald Trump, as well it should.
Bevin also had high praise for Trump's running mate, Indiana Governor Mike Pence.
He's probably my closest political friend. He's the person who I have turned to personally most often as it relates to advice on being a governor. He's a guy who brings a perspective that is truly conservative, and I think that is something that was a wise choice.
And Bevin admits he sees a bit of Trump in himself, an outsider businessman who's determined to shake things up. What was really epic was the celebration as the Kentuckians launched Trump and Pence on the road to the White House. Speech over, cue the balloons. Thousands of balloons.
Yeah, baby!
Enough balloons to make usually dignified dignitaries channel their inner child.
What is not to love?
This is my 11th convention. I go back to 1976. This is the most energetic.
Outstanding. I mean, millions of balloons, what's not to love? Really, truly, what an extraordinary experience.
And you can see Governor Bevin, he seems like an old hand with playing with balloons. I'm sure with all of his kids that helps.
As for the speech, the Kentuckians say Trump did not burst their balloon.
It's a long speech, but it was one full of content. So I thought it was good.
Well, he hit several points. I'm not crazy about his style, but it's just a matter of style, but the substance was there.
And there were moments where he was espousing very strong conservative pro-American principles. You could hear the audience really responding to that, and I think as Kentuckians, they'll respond to that too.
If people were watching this speech tonight and did not see the next president of the United States, if they did not hear the conservative message and the future hope and possibility of greatness in this country, they were not paying attention. I thought it was outstanding.
For many in this delegation, Cleveland was their first convention, and despite the reported conflicts and controversies, they leave impressed and encouraged.
I mean, to see the constitutional process at work and to see the whole energy and spirit of this has been very eye-opening, very educational for me.
It's been exciting and exhausting, but as several delegates told me, now the party is over and the real work begins. At the Republican National Convention in Cleveland, Lawrence Smith, WDRB News.